The 2017 Western Australia Media Awards are made possible thanks to Serafino Wines, Lion, Government of Western Australia, Lavin Legal, thewest.com.au, Telstra, Community Newspaper Group, Public Transport Authority, Media Super, Hit 92.9, AMA Western Australia, Equal Opportunity Commission, The Sunday Times, OBWA, and the Walkley Foundation.
Staff walk off the job.
People are going to be very emotional about it because I am.
Tried to cut their way to quality, which is absolutely impossible.
Cut after cut after cut to quality journalism.
Nothing has changed about our industry. The crooks, the scumbags, the liars are still out there.
Thrill of breaking a story and just nailing it. Having the job and the role in life to ask bloody cheeky questions.
Now is the time to double down and do our damn jobs because it is more important than ever.
Please welcome Western Australia MEAA Media Section Branch President Martin Turner.
Roger Cook, Deputy Premier, Minister for Health and Mental Health, Senator Linda Reynolds, Senator for Western Australia, Caitlin Mcinerney, Director of Media for the Media, Entertainment and Arts Alliance, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome to the WA Media Awards Gala for 2017. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar tribe. I'd also like to pay my respects to elders past and present. It's a source of great pride to me that the WA Media Section Committee that serves you and WA Regional Director Tiffany Venning to deliver this evening's presentation with organiser Anna Magnus on behalf of the Walkley Foundation. Acknowledging the best of WA journalism is a somewhat daunting task, but it's also an occasion for joy and, again, pride in the endeavours of all members of our industry. And we sincerely thank you all for entering the awards and congratulate the finalists who will shortly find out the outcome of our awards process. I've used that word pride with intent. In May this year, the Media, Entertainment and Arts Alliance turned 25. Three unions came together in 1992, the Australian Journalists Association, Actors Equity, and the Australian Theatrical and Amusement Employees Association. The Symphony Orchestra Musicians Association then joined MEAA in 1995. In a show of solidarity, in order to mark the occasion, the entire branch of MEAA has decided to celebrate the occasion in a bold and potentially sparkly, even glittery way. Yes, on Saturday, November 25, we are marching in the Pride Parade with the MEAA float. Clearly, this is an expression of our broad acceptance of diversity in sexual orientation, but diversity is clearly much more than bright colours, bells and whistles. The very notion of unionism is dependent on the acceptance of a belief in diversity that can be accommodated under the umbrella of an organisation such as the Media, Entertainment and Arts Alliance. As a migrant myself with a very diverse racial background, this has been a great comfort to me throughout my journalistic career. At local, state and federal level, I've always felt a great deal of acceptance in the union family. And as an organisation, we need to keep striving for the synergies that result from encapsulating the diversity of opinion, culture, orientation in our industry and the wider community. In the process, we need to further develop the industrial and social bulwarks that will consolidate and improve the rights and conditions of media workers. These awards are themselves an expression of the rich diversity of perspective in the best of our journalism. To all of you, enjoy the night's proceedings, and I wish you every success in your media careers for the year ahead. Thank you very much.
Hello, we had some lovely spring sunshine in Perth today.
They don't even have the backbone to come on this radio station today. It was another kick in the guts to all West Australians.
Gentlemen, and welcome to the 2017 Western Australia Media Awards with thanks to the Media and Entertainment and Arts Alliance and the Walkley Foundation. We are so delighted to be your host this evening. My name is Amelia Broon.
And doesn't Amelia Broon look absolutely gorgeous tonight? Give her a great big round of applause.
Thank you, Ollie.
And my name is Oliver Peterson, and as Amelia said, we are delighted to be your hosts this evening. And big congratulations to all of the finalists this evening. Just to even be in the running is certainly a huge achievement and reward for your outstanding work.
It's been another really busy year, hasn't it, Ollie? Across all media outlets and platforms, with a number of changes at TV networks, radio stations, newspapers and online sites.
And who can forget there is even more diversity in Western Australian media than ever before, because of course we saw the Sunday Times bought by 7 West. We've also seen tonight, I can announce, that Channel 9 is now also under the umbrella of 7, having seen that Channel 9 is sitting on table 7 for this evening. So the diversity continues in Western Australia.
Controversial table number. While over at the ABC, Andrew O'Connor has had to drop his camera, his boom pole and his iPhone because he's been appointed the role of news director at the ABC, taking over from Kim Jordan.
Some other significant appointments this year we should acknowledge as well. Michael Beach is now the editor of the Sunday Times. He's here this evening. Congratulations to you, Michael. And also, well done to David Baker, who was appointed the editor of WA Today before also going over to 7 West. And we have Fran Rimrod, who is the first female editor of WA Today. That deserves another great big round of applause. You could say, Mills, there's really been a seismic shift in our news outlets as a change of government as well. A number of journalists and media advisors have swapped seats. And what has probably been, I'd argue, the biggest story over the last 12 months, the change of government.
Absolutely, Ollie. We've seen wall-to-wall live coverage across all the TV networks, news bites and radio stations. We saw the government we had covered for 8 years turned upside down as Mark McGowan and Labor swept into power in a landslide.
Yeah, and you've even got Roger Cook here this evening, the Deputy Premier with a broken arm, but he's happy to be here. But all of those burning questions still remain. And some of you this evening are nominated for some of those awards surrounding, say, for example, the lead in the water at the New Perth Children's Hospital, which has really become an absolute debacle.
The Eagles and Dockers were playing hardball about moving to the New Perth Stadium before finally signing on that dotted line this week.
And talking of the New Perth Stadium, who organised an Irishman to sing at the New Perth Stadium before anybody else? And that damn Eastern States footy code playing a double header before our beloved AFL.
There's our continued campaign for a greater share of the GST. Ollie, does anyone even listen to us?
Well, everyone in this room does, but does anyone else listen that we want a greater share of the GST? And despite finishing second in the Australian Conference in Rugby Union, being the fastest growing nursery of young rugby talent and a rally attended by thousands of West Australians, we have no team to cheer on in the not-so-super rugby competition.
There was the death, of course, of Aboriginal boy Elijah Doughty and the riots in Kalgoorlie that put our state under the national microscope for reasons that probably make us all feel a little bit awkward.
Yeah, and after 20 years, a breakthrough and an arrest was made of Bradley Robert Edwards, the accused Claremont serial killer, which is, of course, still before the courts.
Fremantle Council made national headlines around Australia Day regarding commemorations, which continues to fuel the national debate. Should we celebrate on the 26th of January?
And the gender pay gap reared its head again 2 weeks ago. Lisa Wilkinson leaving the Today Show, and who can forget Jacket Gate?
We do, Ollie, continue to survive #Perth storms.
Oh, yeah.
We holiday in Bali despite volcanoes. We dream about the Dreamliner taking off from Perth to London.
And WA's most talked about knee, that of Nick Natanui.
So while we dig up our stories, we call our contacts, we try to outwit, outplay and outlast our opposition on a stakeout.
What do the punters think of the stories, or the most popular stories, I should say, of the year?
None, Ollie. Not one of those significant stories was the most clicked on by the WA public.
All right, indeed not. Let's have a look at the top 10 most clicked on stories according to the West this year.
At number 10, the new VB flavoured ice cream.
At number 9 is the new $10 note.
At number 8 and number 7, the schoolies rescued after floating out to sea on 2 inflatable pink flamingos. And number 7, Jetstar offering afterpay so you can fly now and pay later.
I hear a bit of a theme. At number 6, the Beachborough mates who spent 14 months making a 4.5 metre tall Christmas tree out of VB cans. And then the pork belly burger came in at number 5. Just think of a burger, but instead of a bun, 2 pieces of pork belly.
The food theme continues, Ollie. Number 3, who wouldn't want their house smelling like KFC? Well, you can. You can buy a KFC scented candle. It came in at number 3.
And number 2, a spider caused a young driver to crash his car.
And at number 1, who doesn't love a good animal story? A video of Cero the tortoise eating a watermelon cake at Perth Zoo to celebrate his 50th birthday.
So how good is journalism in 2017? Give yourselves a big round of applause.
Well done to all our nominees tonight. Congratulations and all the best for this evening.
And I think we now have a short video presentation of some of the highlights over the last 12 months.
Whoa! You just crashed. No.
A trail of terrible injury across Westminster Bridge.
Never giving in to terror.
Move towards safety. This was the work of a single suicide bomber.
Oh my God! We could hear people screaming, help me, and flashing their phone lights to let people know that they were there.
The avalanche pushed the hotel 10 metres further down the mountain.
Plowed into almost 24 pedestrians.
When you kill innocent children, innocent babies.
Hey, they're shooting right at us, guys. Everybody stay down.
Bucket after bucket of rubble.
Just a little bit of hope, we continue.
6 kilograms of cocaine.
Without warning, the shark attacked.
Terribly heartbroken and saddened by this tragic accident.
He's settling in to be this way.
That ended in the worst way imaginable. Are you okay?
Became abusive and aggressive.
Sean Adam Newton smiles for the camera.
Most senior tax officers on tax fraud charges.
Victoria Police have charged Cardinal George Pell.
Wilson warrants a substantial damages award.
Elle Corby leaving her Kuta villa for the first time.
Behind bars for a crime he didn't commit.
Survived being shot in the Philippines.
We are not happy!
I'm sorry. I loved him so much.
Didn't expect to win an Olympic gold medal and went on to win 3 in the space of a week and a half.
For people who don't follow soccer, I think they still know Les Murray.
That friendly, lovable face, that amazing, iconic broadcasting voice.
Drew loved everyone, loved life, loved sport, loved Karen, his wife. So it's a sad day.
First statement was a fine statement.
Not
Can you give us a chance?
Your organization.
You are
Start.
attacking.
That's a question.
Don't be.
Can you give us a question?
I'm not finished. Fake news. It's all fake news. It's phony stuff. Sick people, and they put that crap together.
Do know that I've given it everything. I've got everything out of my body.
It is sport. There is nothing to do with colour.
First half hat trick for Sam Kerr.
What's going on here? Absolute carnage. Absolute carnage here.
I opened the envelope and it said,
What a year it certainly has been, and just here in Western Australia, it will not surprise you to learn that over 240 entries were received in this year's Media Awards. So if you do win tonight, you have every right to feel smug.
Tonight we recognise our media colleagues' very best work for the year. Please join us in congratulating the 2017 WA Media Award finalists. Congratulations on your great work and enjoy the night ahead.
And as for the winners, they each will receive the Unique Designer WA Media Award trophies.
It is now time to please welcome to the stage MEAA's Director of Media, Mcinerney.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome again to the 2017 WA Media Awards. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge and pay my respects to the elders past and present of the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet tonight. It's a pleasure to be back again this year to celebrate and recognise the most outstanding journalism produced in WA over the past year. Journalism that serves our communities, keeps our audiences informed and entertained, journalism that underscores the public's right to know, even if it isn't always at the top of the click list. 2017 was another tough year for journalists in newsrooms around the country. Further assaults on press freedom, further cuts to photojournalists, editors, production staff, all important contributors, which has continued the reduction of the numbers of journalist boots on the ground. And as we know, where there are fewer journalists, there are fewer news stories. And that is what makes the efforts of the journalists nominated here tonight doubly impressive. A testament to the dedication of the local news hounds of WA in the face of these growing pressures, shrinking newsrooms, shrinking resources, and the teams in those newsrooms who keep the home fires burning when one of their number is out on the road chasing a yarn. Journalists continue to face prosecution and jail time for doing our jobs. 21 agencies are now able to trawl through your communications data for the past, and a jail time penalty also exists and is still in place for journalists who report on operational matters. Events this week have once again highlighted this dual threat facing our craft and our ability to do our jobs. The ABC are currently in the middle of a round of national job cuts, and the Queensland Police raided Brisbane offices on Thursday in an outrageous attack on press freedom. The raid was conducted in an attempt to identify the source of leaked cabinet documents from 2012. As we all know here, the role of the media in a healthy democracy is to scrutinise those in power. That is our job, and the Australian public needs us to do that job in order to get the full story. The confidential documents revealed former Premier Campbell Newman's Razor Gang used a pain threshold ranking ranging from 1 to 4, with 1 being the easiest, to decide job cuts and other types of cuts whilst in power. And it was also reported the government sold the profitable Eco-Fund Queensland, a company combating climate change, whose revenues were set to double. The execution of a search warrant to hunt for leaked cabinet documents was a belated attempt to pursue journalist sources rather than address the matters raised in the legitimate journalism by 2 ABC reporters. MEAA called on the Queensland Police to stop going after journalists and instead pursue its investigations among Queensland's politicians, rather than seek to shoot the messenger and a likely whistleblower seeking to reveal important information to the community. So the squeeze is well and truly on in public interest journalism and those who produce it. It was that double bind of falling journalist numbers and continuing restrictions on press freedom, and coupled with the announcement, of course, of our oldest and most respected media organisations axing 125 of its editorial staff, and of course facing down a private equity bid from a foreign company, that prompted hundreds of Fairfax journalists to walk off the job earlier this year during the biggest week of 2017, Federal Budget Week, to make the very clear point that journalism in this country is at a crossroads, and investment in the Fourth Estate is more necessary than ever before. While we await the outcomes and recommendations of the public interest inquiry that was launched as a result of that strike action, the recent changes to media laws, do spark a bright spot of hope on the horizon. A $60.4 million fund set up primarily to fund positions for journalists in regional and innovative small publishers. Frustratingly, while the Senate inquiry refocused the debate about media reform on the key issue conspicuously absent throughout, that is the essential public policy goal of having a strong and diverse media landscape in Australia that gives us a wide range of reporting, analysis and opinion, the opportunity to legislate in support of public interest journalism and find concrete ways to garner investment in our Fourth Estate was squandered. The government instead rammed through its planned media reform with only that one small measure to combat the ongoing crisis facing our industry at a time when we need the work of journalists more than ever. However, I do feel like these speeches are always a little bit bleak, so here are two pivotal changes accomplished by members of our union and members fighting for press freedom, standing together and continuing to push back against constraints on us doing our jobs. Finally, firstly, after years of campaigning, the draft whistleblowers protection legislation has been released. While the previous Labor government significantly strengthened protection for public service whistleblowers, protections for private sector whistleblowers have been poor and fragmented. So we welcome the Coalition's first draft as a step. As a first step, it significantly expands the scope of conduct that can be disclosable from its current very narrow definition. It contains substantial penalties for revealing the identity of a whistleblower, and it provides a framework for going to the media or a politician when wrongdoing may be of such gravity and urgency that disclosure to the media or a parliamentarian is justified. The draft contains protections for those blowing the whistle if they believe their concerns have not been addressed through regulatory channels and that there is an imminent risk of serious harm or danger to public health or safety or to the financial system if the information is not acted on. Another small but pivotal bit of movement has been on defamation. 6 years after it said it would, New South Wales is finally getting on with its promised review of the 12-year-old National Uniform Defamation Regime. They've released a briefing document and New South Wales is expected to complete its review in the next 6 months and will submit it to COAG's Law, Crime and Community Safety Council. That's the Committee of Attorney Generals at its April-May meeting. And of the briefing's documents, 13 recommendations, the two key ones for us are the single publication rule, which brings a consistent 12 months from the date of print to the expiry of your ability to sue someone for defamation to 12 months. This is a big improvement and it's modelled on the UK. The other thing, of course, is the introduction of a serious harm test. Essentially, you have to prove that you first had a reputation worth defending, otherwise, when someone goes after you, otherwise it can't be considered defamation. So we all have our work cut out for us. As always, despite the challenges facing us, the entries showcased here tonight prove yet again that we are a tough bunch to silence, that when the hard questions need to be asked, we stand ready and determined to get the job done. So congratulations to all of the finalists tonight on a job well done.
To our sponsor representatives here tonight, we say thank you for continuing to support excellence in journalism. Don't forget, once you've presented the prize, to smile for the camera. We'll save speeches tonight just for the winners of the major awards this evening, which will come at the end of the night.
Tonight, the judges' comments have been embedded into the AV If you don't hear the judges' comments, don't fret, as all comments will be available online after the official proceedings.
Before we go any further, we do have to acknowledge the people who have already done the hard work for this year when they sat down with the entries and decided which ones were the very best. To this year's judges, thank you, thank you, thank you. Judges give up their own time to judge, and without them, well, we wouldn't have these awards.
So, let's get on to the first award of the night. Now, we encounter more and more of them every single year. They speak a bizarre dialect of English. They often have to live in cramped and dirty conditions and are forced to work extremely hard doing thankless jobs for no pay. They are called journalism students.
The most outstanding, yes. The most outstanding journalism student award is sponsored by the Department of Premier and Cabinet and the Minister for Health and Mental Health, Deputy Premier, the Honourable Roger Cook MLA, who joins us to present this award. Now, the finalists: Brendan Crew, Edith Cowan University; Nicholas Marta, Edith Cowan University; and Molly Schmidt from Curtin University.
And the winner is Molly Schmidt. Molly Schmidt's story is delivered in a direct manner and is good examples of modern reporting that demonstrates Molly Schmidt's nose for news.
Molly Schmidt's 3 pieces showed a clear talent for beautifully crafted writing well beyond her years. Her Shanghai orphan story is a top-notch feature with surprising insights into the scale of prejudice towards cleft palate in China, while the photography is an excellent addition and really helps drive the point home, adding to the poignancy of the story. Her Perth Soccer Club story is delivered in a direct manner and is a good example of modern reporting that demonstrates her nose for news. She's writing at a sophisticated level.
Well done to Molly. Now, the Best New Journalist or Cadets. The Eves Prior Day Prize is sponsored by Community Newspaper Group, and we invite the Editor-in-Chief, Matt Ziss, to the stage to present this award to cadets and journalists in their first full-time year of grading. This prize honours the memory of AJA members Jack Eves, Selwyn Pryor and Merv Day, who took a great interest in the training and development of young journalists. The Best New Journalist or Cadet finalists are Emily Baker, 7 West Media; Thomas D'Souza, Freelance; and Katie McDonald from Business News.
And the winner is Emily Baker.
And Thomas D'Souza.
2 winners.
The judges acknowledge the stark differences in these 2 nominations, but consider both worthy of sharing the award. Tom D'Souza's writing style is compelling. His story construction belies his relative inexperience in the craft, his use of photography and inclusion of video material add extra dimensions to already persuasive storytelling.
Don't touch her! The women spent the last 10 days living in these trees.
Emily Baker displays an ability to craft news stories for television in a style which will resonate with most viewers. It's evidenced by reports of the brawl victim and the Row 8 protesters, while her exclusive insulin overdose story was well researched and of public importance. The judges feel Emily's high standard of presentation underpins her submission.
Well done. We now move on to the awards for photography. The first award tonight in this section is for Best Newsed Photograph, sponsored by the Sunday Times. Please welcome editor Michael Beach to present this award. The finalists are Danella Bevis, the West Australian; Mary Mills from the Kalgoorlie Miner; and Ian Munro, the West Australian.
And the winner of Best News Photograph is Mary
Mary's hard news image from the 4-hour Kalgoorlie riots sparked by the death of Aboriginal teenager 14-year-old Elijah Doughty was a standout in the news photo category. Mary was well positioned to capture the confrontation between a bloodied police officer and a protester, achieving an important image from one of the biggest WA stories of the year.
The next photographic category is proudly sponsored by the MEAA. Please welcome Media Director Caitlin Mcinerney to present the award. The category is the award for Best News Photograph Community and Regional. And the finalists are John Gelwheeler, Southwestern Times; Mary Mills, Kalgoorlie Miner; Marta Pasquale Wanola, Mandurah Mail; Andrew Ritchie, Community Newspapers.
And the winner is Mary Mills. Get back up here, Mary.
Mary Mills' photograph highlights the serious and dangerous nature of the riot. The expressions on the subjects' faces are compelling, so too the smear of what appears to be blood on the cheek of an officer. In what was a very fluid situation, the photographer kept her head, producing a very clear, powerful image without getting involved in the riot itself. This illustrates the role of photography, an important news story for the Goldfields region, the state of Western Australia and the nation.
Our next award is sponsored by Media Super. Please welcome Business Development Manager Patrick Horniman to present the award for Best Feature Photographic Essay. The finalists in this category are Danella Bevis, the West Australian; Mary Mills, the Kalgoorlie Miner; and Michael Wilson from the West Australian.
And the winner is Michael Wilson.
A very strong set of images that capture the volatile emotion as protesters clash with police at the WA government's controversial Row 8 extension across Belia wetlands. Wilson's conscious decision to remove the colour and present the photographs as black and white allow the viewer to look into the images and not be distracted by the fluorescent yellow police jackets which would have dominated the images. The photographer has embedded himself in the thick of the action, giving the audience a real insight of what the situation was like as it was happening on the ground. The set has been well edited and presents a well-balanced photo essay.
Thank you.
The next two categories are sponsored by the MEAA. We welcome WA MEAA Director Tiffany Venning to present the following two awards. The award for Best Broadcast Camera Work. And the finalists are Gail Adams, 7 Network, Goldfields Ghost Towns; Jessica Milosevic, Channel 9 Perth, Kalgoorlie Riots; Ray Raab and Simon Heidzik, 7 West Media, Kalgoorlie Riots.
And the winner in this category is Jessica Milosevic.
This was another closely contested category. Judges said Jessica's gripping on-the-spot camera work captured the rioting that erupted on the streets of Kalgoorlie following the death of Elijah Doughty. Putting aside her own safety, Jessica captured unforgettable pictures as rioters threw rocks and bottles at the court building, stomped on a police car and smashed its windows, and attacked and injured police. Jessica's camera work is an outstanding example of on-the-spot news camera work shot in dangerous, difficult conditions as events unfolded around her with no warning.
Well done, Jess.
Well done, Jess.
Now on to the regional and community best 3 news stories or features. The finalists are Jasmine Bamford, ABC, reports from the Northwest, Kate Headley from Fairfax Media on the Clive William Black fallout, and Nathan Morris from ABC, social affairs coverage.
And the winner is Nathan Morris.
Having to bury my own son today.
Nathan Morris has produced an extremely powerful and haunting piece from Leonora that humanises the story of Australia's Indigenous suicide crisis. Local undertaker Matt Taylor's decision to tell the story of his son's suicide in raw detail is clearly the result of a deeply trusting relationship between journalist and subject. The footage of a grieving Taylor measuring and digging his son's grave is unforgettable. And while this piece helped foster greater awareness around this tragic issue in the Goldfields Esperance region, it surely deserves to be seen by a much wider audience. It is rare that journalism conveys fact, emotion and the desperate mood of a town. This did it all.
Well done, Nathan. We are now joined by WA Public Transport Authority Corporate Communications Manager David Hines to present the Suburban Best 3 Stories or Features. And the finalists are... Big round of applause for David, first of all, ladies and gentlemen. Sarah Brooks from Community Newspaper Group, Body of Work. Brett Christian, Post Newspapers, Murder, Massacre and Neil's Tooth. Stephen Pollock, Fremantle Herald, Fremantle Council versus Australia Day. And Josh Zimmerman, Community Newspaper Group, Body of Work.
There are 2 equal winners in this category. Please congratulate Sarah Brooks.
And Brett Christian.
Sarah Brooks submitted an excellent body of work of grassroots suburban reporting. She diligently pursued the answers to health incidents affecting a local school, displaying local community reporting at its best, and it would have generated widespread public interest in her newspaper's catchment area. Brett Christian's experience and position as a newspaper publisher allows him to regularly set the suburban news agenda. Particularly, it's his continued pursuit of the inside story of the Claremont serial killer police investigation which elevated his submitted body of work to the highest level. He produced a story born out of understanding events at a suburban level can elevate to statewide and even national significance. Brooks and Christian are therefore worthy joint winners of the suburban news category.
Well done to both of our winners. Next, the award for Best Freelance Journalist. The award is sponsored by the MEAA and will be presented by WA Committee and National Media Section Delegate Emma Wynne. The finalists in this category: Thomas D'Souza, Freelance, Body of Work. And Dorothy Henderson, also Freelance, People in a Rural Landscape.
And the winner is Dorothy Henderson.
This set of stories by Dorothy Henderson presents the widest variety of rural life with empathy and an understanding of the land. Through the stories of individuals, the author gives the reader a nuanced insight into the experiences of people and not through the man on the land stereotypes. Henderson clearly likes and respects her interviewees, whether they are commenting comically on an earthquake shock and the solace of sharing the experience on social media, or a mother describing the value of growing market vegetables with her 2 young sons.
And now the Best Culture and Arts Report, the AH Cornweevil Arts Prize, sponsored by Serafino Wines. We welcome from Serafino, Joe Ravi. This award honours the memory of Albert H. Cornweeble, who was widely celebrated for his music critiques under the pen name Fidelio and his reviews of books and drama. The finalists are Katie McDonald, Business News. WA's arts sector performs in tough funding environments. Paige Taylor and Hedley Thomas, The Australian, Bill Leak's provocative cartoon. Rebecca Turner, ABC News. Perceptions can be everything, conflicts of interest, and the Screen West board.
And the winner is Katie McDonald.
WA's arts sector performs in a tough funding environment. Katie McDonald's entry focuses on the challenges facing the Western Australian arts sector in a difficult funding environment and against a backdrop of low federal funding allocations. The articles show a resourceful WA arts sector energetically striving to surmount funding challenges through innovation and collaboration at state, national and even international levels. McDonald demonstrates a solid grasp of the arts scene. Her work is carefully researched and grounded in facts, figures and well-founded opinions. Such journalistic work is vital for nurturing a healthy and informed arts sector and for fostering an enlightened funding bureaucracy.
Well done, Katie. Our next award is the Best Health or Medical Report, and we're joined on stage now by Dr. Omar Khorshid, President of the Australian Medical Association, Western Australia. The finalists in this category: Victoria Laurie, The Australian, Final Act, The Life and Death of Clive Deverell. Kathy O'Leary from 7 West Media, The Right to Die. And Regina Tatalia, 7 West Media, Time for Vaccine Action.
And the winner is Victoria Laurie. The award will be...
Final Act is a mature, well-written piece of journalism, and the excellence of Victoria Laurie's writing stood above the field of entries. She interviewed him about his campaign to legalise euthanasia in Western Australia before he died and those close to him afterward. Impressively, the piece demonstrated a deft handling of an issue that is both complex and contentious without any evidence of the journalist's personal inclination one way or the other. The importance of the piece was underscored when Mr Deverell's widow, Noreen Finn, one of Ms Laurie's interview subjects, was a guest of the WA Parliament in August when it established an inquiry examining the introduction of euthanasia laws in WA.
That was actually Vicky's partner, Andy Farrant, who accepted the award, and he said to say she's currently in Melbourne celebrating her mother's 95th birthday. Congratulations. Please welcome to present the award for Best Science and Environmental Report from the WA Committee and National Media Section delegates, Marissa Marissa, I've completely butchered your surname. How do I say it? Wickramanike, there you go. Completely butchered it, but there you go. Thank you. The finalists are John Flint, The Sunday Times, 7 West Media, Green Regime and Asbestos Waste Bomb. Tess Ingram, The Australian Financial Review, The Square Kilometre Array, Going to Infinity and Beyond. And Emma Young, WA Today, Fairfax Media, Just One Wetland, A Cautionary Tale.
And the winner is John Flint.
John Flint took a story that could have easily stayed forgotten in government media release and broke it wide open. He doggedly investigated the implications of the West Australian government strategy to divert waste from landfill by crushing and recycling demolition rubble from older buildings, even though it is riddled with asbestos. What he found was alarming. Stockpiles of dangerous waste have been created by contractors who couldn't afford landfill levy fees, which had been hiked 500% to encourage recycling. Mr. Flint's series is a peerless example of delving beneath the spin to pursue every possible angle. Supported by comprehensive research, the work is a showpiece revealing the unintended consequences of poorly conceived government policy.
Well done. Can we now please welcome Sarah Johnston from the Equal Opportunity Commission to present the award for Best Social Equity Report. And welcome, thank you. The finalists are Heather McNeil, WA Today, Fairfax Media, Tackling the Taboos of Social Justice. Kirsty Melville, ABC Radio National, Rottnest Island, Black Prison, White Playground. And Kathy O'Leary, 7 West Media, The Right to Die.
And the winner is Kirsty Melville. We ask for one of her colleagues from the ABC to accept on her behalf.
Ask any West Australian modular, white fella, how they feel about Rotto, and the responses are reverential. Dig just a little bit deeper, and not so far beneath its glittering surface is the history of horror and suffering.
Kirsty Melville takes radio listeners on a modern-day exploration of the island's darkest history. Her exquisite audio presentation encapsulates the Rotto we know today, while explaining the intrinsic detail of the suffering experienced by Aboriginal prisoners at the hands of early European settlers. Beautiful use of language, both English and Noongar, strong historical research, and an ability to interweave little-known facts throughout a 2-part long-form radio series makes Melville's entry a standout in the category.
Well done, Kirsty. The next category is sponsored by the MEAA to present the award for Business, Economics or Finance Report, the President of the WA Media Section, Martin Turner. And the finalists are Paul Garvey, The Australian, Digging Deep, Edgar Basto's Journey. Joe Spagnolo, The Sunday Times, GST. Peter Williams, The West Australian, Diploma Collapse.
And the winner is Peter Williams.
Peter Williams' a series of reports on the troubles of builder-developer Diploma Group from the time subcontractor non-payment claims emerged through to its financial collapse won unanimous support from all judges as the clear winner. The entry epitomised what quality journalism is all about, hearing about an issue and continuing to dig until the truth is finally exposed. Williams impressed with his sheer persistence in pursuing the story and the punchy and informative way it was told. Acknowledging this story would have been particularly difficult to expose because the journalist was writing about a subject matter that refused to engage. Trends suggest audiences are crying out for more in-depth analysis of news and events, and Williams nailed that in this piece.
Well done, Peter. All right, it is politics time to present the award for the Best Political Report, the Beck Prize, sponsored by the Sunday Times. Here's Michael Beach again to present the award. This award honours the memory of Will Beck, a long-time Hansard reporter at the WA Parliament and a prominent member of the Australian Journalists Association. And the finalists for Best Political Report are Claire Moody, ABC, Return of One Nation. Joe Spagnolo, The Sunday Times, The Preference. And Shane Wright and Andrew Probyn, The West Australian, The Bell Bombshell.
And the winner is Joe Spagnolo.
Joe Spagnolo used multiple sources to break the news of One Nation's preference deal with the WA Liberal Party, a story that came to be a dominant issue during the state election this year. The issue went on to become a national concern and was attributed as underpinning the Liberal Party's loss.
Well done, Joe. Telstra are the sponsor for the award for multimedia. Please welcome back Caitlin Mcinerney to present the award. And the finalists are Lauren Day, the ABC, Doctor Who Killed Abusive Husband Speaks Out. The ABC Regional Team entry, ABC Regional, Right Wrongs. 7 West Media Team entry, 7 West Media WA, the state election live, keeping them honest.
And the winner is 7 West Digital Media Team. We ask Gary Adsed to accept on the 7 West Media Team's behalf. Come on forward, Gary.
All the polls are saying that it's all over for the Barnett government and dissolve Q.
This is WA Decides, a live 7 News special. That was Pauline Hanson's response.
And I believe no other newsroom in Australia has ever done before, what we're doing right at this moment.
West Australian's online 2017 state election day coverage shows perfectly how multimedia journalism should work at its best and how it's evolved to provide an experience that is greater than the sum of its parts. Slickly produced, the live election day coverage incorporated a mini documentary, seat tracker, live election day blog, a custom-built promise tracker and access to expert commentary on the day. This provided a substantial audience with lively, informative coverage in an easily digested format.
Well done, 7 West. All right, I know you're all probably getting hungry, so the good news is this is our last category before the break. The best 3 headlines, sponsored by the Walkley Foundation, and you see Media Director Caitlin Mcinerney joining us on stage. The finalists for best 3 headlines are Paul Barry, the West Australian, the Sunday Times, Life Leon, Panel Beaters, and Moses Shows the Way to the Promised Land. David Cusworth, 7 West Media, Jeddah Night, a fan solo, Art About Nothing in Our Back, Yada Yada Yada, and Swing the Thing in a Roundabout Way. Martin Turner, Community Newspaper Group, New York Plate of Mind, Mind Your Manners, and Reading, Writing and Rhythmetric.
And the winner is Martin Turner.
The headline, it's an art designed to grab the reader's attention and pull them to an article. There were 3 strong entries in this category, but Martin Turner came up with 3 smart and snappy headlines. Mind Your Manners took just 3 words to warn fishers of catching undersized crabs. New York Plate of Mind took the readers to baseball's big time, while Reading, Writing and Arithmetric was a particularly clever way to highlight how music was used to introduce young adults to a novel. Great work.
Well done, Martin. Well, what an amazing range of finalists and winners we've had so far. Congratulations, everyone. Wrapping up our first section, it's now time for the main course. We will be back at 9 o'clock with the second half. Enjoy your dinner.
I join because I know we are strong when we are united, that we need to look after ourselves, our colleagues and the integrity of our profession.
I've been a MEAA member for 2 years. I joined when I was making the transition from my old work as an engineer into the media industry. Entering the media industry, I joined the media union. At the moment, we're in a process where we're trying to organise the digital media industry and setting some benchmarks as to what a good digital job looks like. And it's important. It's the only really growing media sector in Australia and around the world. So it's good to see the union getting in and recognising that's where the future of media lies.
I do lighting for Home and Away, Channel 7, in the studios just behind us here. The negotiation that we had, it did go on for a while. It was about 18 months in the end. Because of the amount of union members in our group within Home and Away, we managed to have a lot more power to negotiate with. Luckily, we had the support of the MEAA, which basically pushed Channel 7 into what we were after.
It's helped my colleagues negotiate just and fair outcomes.
This little despicable man is going to keep going, okay?
Not about to concede. Bad luck, you had your go.
Theirs is a political answer, which is a lie, and yours is the truth. From all of them, yeah, they lied.
I'm not prepared to say that.
What does he have to hide?
Technically, that's correct. We apparently have imagined the whole thing.
Still got the senator's badge on and I'm going to my senator's office.
Yeah, portrayed as a dictator is not something you'd like to wake up to.
It is a distressing situation. I have everyone knew it with you being a goose. Everyone knew it with you being a goose.
Oh, if you have a look here, a lot of grace.
What's his name? What's the opposition leader's name? I can't remember.
Martin Gowan.
He hasn't made a great impression on me.
It's my sweet personality.
It's hovering around 6.5%.
6.9.
Oh, 6.5 to 6.9.
False. Yes.
Please,
No.
votes in the room.
No. Yes. Come on.
So that was a little bit of a political stunt. I'm disappointed the media were involved in it, but that's the way it is.
What was the media involved?
Well, they ran the photo, didn't they?
Come on.
I'm just going to reflect on the mode of dress.
It's just full of these women wearing the burqa.
Can't say stuff like that. You just can't. Get real. Raise your game.
Get the burqa, mate. There's new promises to be made.
Sorry, people that behave violently don't get voted. Day.
So is that it? You just sort of shut up shop, have you? No longer interested in politics or parliament or...
Thank you.
And maybe he's having a bad day, I don't know.
Ride a jet ski? No, I don't like them. I'm a sailor. In fact, I hate them. They're noisy and stinky. Unions are the most hypocritical bunch of wankers I've ever seen.
Come on. I'm under strict instructions from my daughter to never dance in public again.
We hope that you enjoyed your dinner this evening. Just want to make mention this evening, Mills, because there is one... everyone's come from far and wide, but I don't know if anyone's come any further than Sydney today. Has anyone come any further from Sydney today to support a loved one who might be running for an award this evening? Because there's a bloke over here on table number 7 from Channel 9 named Cade Thompson. He has flown from Sydney this evening to support his girlfriend Jess Milosevic, who won the Best Camera Woman Award this evening. So I think that's a great big round of applause. And Cade says there may be some more news later. Well done. Our next category this evening is the Best Sports Report, the Gilmore Christian Prize, which is sponsored by Lion. Please welcome Marty Saxton, the member of the MEAA board, to present the award. This award honours the memory of Doug Gilmore, former sports editor, and Jeff Christian, sports writer and broadcaster. And the finalists are Steve Butler, 7 West Media, Green v Mundine. Nick Taylor, the West Australian, 7 West Media, the battle to save the Western Force. And John Townsend, the West Australian, Wacker Test Match.
And the winner for the category of Best Sport Report, the Gilmore Christian Prize, Steve Butler.
The series of reports by Steve Butler was compelling and demonstrates clearly a level of trust and respect earned by the journalist from both Danny Green and Anthony Mundine. The behind-the-scenes access to the camps of both fighters and the exclusive revelations about Green's health were matched by an entertaining and absorbing writing style, especially in the report on the fight that was filed against tight deadlines. In each case, the report showed great storytelling and captured the emotion of an event that held the interest of a broad section of the WA public.
Well done, Butts. The next category is Best Columnist. The Matt Price Award is sponsored by the West Australian. Please welcome Deputy Editor Mark Malabone to present the award. This award honours the memory of Matt Price, former columnist for the Australian. And the finalists for Best Columnists are Kathy O'Leary, the West Australian, 7 West Media, The Price of Health. John Townsend, the West Australian, Tuesday Waffle. And Shane Wright, the West Australian, The Banana Apocalypse.
And the winner from the West Australian, Shane Wright.
Shane Wright explained complex economic policy in everyday language and thorough research to show Australia risks falling behind in food security. More money is not spent on agricultural-based science.
Gary Adset will be accepting the award on behalf of Shane Wright.
Well done, Shane.
We thank Content Director Amanda Lee from Southern Cross Stereo for joining us on stage to present the Radio Audio Journalism Best News Story or Feature Award. And the finalists are Joseph Dunstan, ABC Regional, interview with Brendan Grills after the election loss. Ryan Emery, SBS, A Meeting of Two Fates. Kirsty Melville, ABC Radio National, Rottnest Island, Black Prison, White Playgrounds.
And the winner is Kirsty Melville. We ask one of her colleagues from the ABC to accept on Kirsty's behalf.
Once when I overheard a tour on Rottnest, the Aboriginals were brought here to Rottnest because they were troublesome on the mainland. And that was horrific to me.
Kirsty Melville crafted a powerful and compelling story with Rottnest Island, Black Prison, White Playground. The narrative was crafted in a way that weaves between the horrific events on Rottnest and the subsequent use of the island as a tourist destination and a pleasure resort.
And I mean, anyway, who wants to go and hear a horror story about people dying in jails or dying in the bloody room that I've just rented? Just eating my blooming fish and chips, I'm just drinking a cold beer, and now you've loaded this on me. Nah.
A special mention for the technical production and the use of location sounds and music to accurately enhance the unique story and hold the tension and attention throughout. The judges felt strong emotions by this work.
Now we come to the Television Audiovisual Journalism Best News Story or Feature, which is sponsored by Media Super, and we'd like to welcome back Patrick Horniman to present this award. The finalists are Lauren Day, ABC, Doctor Who Killed Abusive Husband Speaks Out. Monique Dirks, 7 West Media, Kalgoorlie Riots. And Rebecca Johns, the 9 Network of Australia, Kalgoorlie Riots.
And the winner for this category is Rebecca Johns.
Don't you vote! Do not vote!
The news and feature story category was keenly contested with several high-quality entries. The judges said Rebecca Johns' winning entry vividly told the story of the violence and terror in the Kalgoorlie riots, sparked by the death of Indigenous teenager Elijah Doughty. Rebecca, like other reporters and crews, was always at risk of being caught up in the violence. Her stories had impact and insight and contained a dramatic piece to camera filmed as the rioters smashed the gate of the court compound and stormed inside.
These guys are breaking in. They'll do nothing to stop getting inside.
Her entry also included a thoughtful follow-up story on the courageous young woman, a cousin of the dead teenager, who used her body as a shield to protect police from the rioters and who was applauded for her dignity and bravery.
Well done, Beck. Moving on now to print text. We start with Best Feature Writing, the Hugh Schmidt Prize. This award honours the memory of feature writer Hugh Schmidt. Sponsored by Lavin Legal. Joining us on stage now is partner Nick Stagg. Welcome, Nick. The finalists are David Allen Patali, Fairfax Media, Lost Summer, defending the America's Cup. Andrew Burrell, The Australian, Sorry Business. And Victoria Laurie, The Australian, Your Father is My Father.
And the winner is Victoria Laurie, whose partner Andy Farrant will accept on her behalf. Congratulations.
Victoria's report about Aboriginal woman June Oscar's discovery of her white family measured up most strongly against the specific criteria of the High Schmidt Prize. This quality writing is well crafted and well researched, packing an emotional punch that lingers beyond the page. Victoria captures her subjects' feelings as they discover their blood connection, as well as describing their open-hearted approach to each other and forgiving attitude to the circumstances that led to their lives being intertwined to great effect. Western Australia is filled with great stories such as this. Judges encourage journalists to continue to employ the best skills of our craft to tell stories like it.
Congratulations to Victoria. We now moved on to the Best Print Text News Report, sponsored by the West Australian, and we're joined once again by Mark Malabone to present this award. The finalists for the Best Print Text News Report are Gary Adsett and Dylan Capehorn, the West Australian Children's Hospital Lead. David Cohen from the Post newspapers, Chen Murder Tiles. Paige Taylor and Andrew Burrell, The Australian, Elijah Doherty.
And the winners for this category are Paige Taylor and Andrew Burrell. Andrew Burrell will come forward to accept this award.
page, and Andrew's work on the Elijah Doughty story demonstrates the reporter's dedication to going the extra mile to a breaking news event. Although most of the first day's media focus was on the violence in Hannon Street, Kalgoorlie, Taylor and Burrell went behind the story to investigate the festering sore of race relations in the Goldfields city. Competing against the Australians' early deadlines for WA reports, they covered a lot of ground, interviewing many people with intimate knowledge of the boy, his family and members of the wider community, presenting an emotionally powerful report which succeeded to tell of Elijah's difficult life while exploring the anger and retribution petty juvenile crimes were causing. Competing with a strong group of exclusive news-breaking entries, Taylor and Burrell exceeded in reporting a very public event in the best traditions of the profession.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is it, the final categories, the major gongs for the 2017 WA Media Awards. 2 categories are all that stand in the way of us and the dance floor. A frightening thought for some. The Outstanding Contribution to Journalism, the Clarion Award 2017. Tonight's recipient joins an illustrious group of journalists who have shaped our West Australian industry. This award is peer-nominated and celebrates long-term commitment to excellence in journalism and achievement in the industry. It is sponsored by the Media and Entertainment and Arts Alliance, and Marty Saxon joins us again in presenting the award for Most Outstanding Contribution, the Clarion Award 2017.
Good evening. Excuse me. Tonight's winner has proved consistent and multifaceted leadership to at least 2 generations of journalists in WA. He's run his own successful newspaper for 40 years, employed dozens of reporters, advanced the careers of many now senior journalists. But he's remained a reporter at heart and in practice by working assiduously as an investigative journalist and author. He's helped right gross injustices and held government to account. He's also stood up for the importance of belonging to MEAA, our journalist union, stressing the importance of reporting standards and ethics, acting regularly as an awards judge for the annual awards here, and offering counsel in union matters. Tonight's winner was 28 years old when he and his then wife Betty produced the first edition of what has become an institution in Perth. The 12-page newsletter they started in the front room of the Subiaco Terrace House. The Subiaco Post now has a distribution of 52,000. Employs 6 reporters, 2 photographers, 3 sub-editors, and a total staff of 30. Why has the Post endured? Could it actually be that the news is always exclusive and directly relevant to its readers? The Post reporters do not just go to the council meetings in the 7 local government areas that they cover, they're sent to every committee meeting as well. Something that Foreign Affairs Minister Julie Bishop said they deserved a medal for at the Post's 40th birthday party in September. These reporters haunt police stations, planning tribunals, and the most obscure trials in the Magistrates' Court. Some recent gems included, and I quote, the naked muffin baker, the police officer who bashed himself up, and the priest who dug his own grave. There's no doubt tonight's winner loves a quirky yarn. He got his start in 1967 at the now defunct Daily News, where I used to work, where he was, and I kid you not, these were the days, a UFO roundsman, until he exposed 2 frauds who used the taillight of a car to mock up a spaceship photograph. But his long commitment to serious journalism is without peer. He is highly respected, and his remarkable reporting on the big stories on his patch are an inspiration to all of us. His investigations of the Claremont serial killings, which was a finalist tonight, Australia's most expensive homicide investigation, by the way, resulted in astonishing scoops that shed light on crimes that have changed Perth. His sources proved better than anyone's. He will champion unpopular causes. He threw himself into the successful battles to overturn John Button and Daryl Beamish's murder convictions, putting his time and money into tests and research for both cases. And we know what happened there. His 2013 book, Presumed Guilty, was a still pertinent expose about what has gone wrong in police investigations and in WA's jury system. It is a substantial contribution to our understanding of Australian justice. Tonight's winner generously and patiently passes on what he knows, and his reporters are sought after by other employers. Former Post reporters now work at the ABC, News Corp, 7 West Media, Fairfax, AAP, BBC, Time and Wide magazine. And just in closing, when tonight's winner addressed his troops at the Post's 40th birthday party, he told them, and I quote, "Looking back on those frenetic early days, a saying with worrying implications comes to mind: only the mad survive." We're glad he did. Tonight's winner of the 2017 Clarion is Brett Christian.
Surprises. Look, there's one thought ran through my mind while I was sitting there tonight, and that is, it's terrific to be in a place surrounded by people who get it. Our job is to find out what's going on and to publish it, to tell people in some way. And there's not many people outside of this room or outside our industry who realise how difficult that is, how important it is, and how much fun it is. So among you and among all your colleagues, there's some most fantastic work is done in this town every day and every week. So please keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
Right, now to tonight's final award, West Australian Journalist of the Year, Daily News Centenary Prize 2017, where our panel of judges recognise West Australian media's best work for 2017. The award, proudly sponsored by the Media Entertainment and Arts Alliance, will be presented by Tiffany Venning. Welcome, Tiffany.
All right, thank you. And the winner for the West Australian Journalist of the Year Daily News Centenary Prize are Rebecca Johns and Jessica Majocevich.
The security guards have actually locked the front gates of the court. These guys are breaking in.
Outnumbered by protesters 10 to 1, police struggle to control an angry mob.
Jess, here she comes.
Okay, so the Kalgoorlie riots dominated the news agenda for part of last year, and the story went international. The judges felt the two entries, camera work by Jessica and news story by Rebecca, deserved to share the award as they were intrinsically linked. There you go, ladies. Yeah. Most definitely, the story of the riots, sparked by the death of Aboriginal teen Elijah Doherty, could not have been told to the same extent without the confronting images that confronted it. The camerawoman put herself in action in a heated and volatile situation and managed to maintain her composure and her focus to capture one of the year's most iconic sequences of pictures. Pictures that travelled the world to tell the story of a town at breaking point. At the same time, the story was insensitively handled by the journalist who put aside her own fear and was able to link Aboriginal people to violence but also to grief. John's selection of facts and emphasis was ethical and thoughtful. This is all the judges' comments. She progressed the narrative, and by choosing to tell the story of a courageous young woman who protected police during the riot, she moved her reporting away from a divisive us and them story, which could have contributed to negative stereotypes, to a story that was both accurate and fair. The judges also felt a special commendation should be made to Victoria Laurie for her 2 winning entries. A powerful... Yeah, go on, clap, Vicky. A powerful and sensitive piece on euthanasia, looking at the life and death of Clive Deverell, the former Executive Director of the WA Cancer Council and President of Palliative Care WA, who took his own life on the day of the WA election as one final political statement, and a beautifully written feature on an Aboriginal woman connecting with her white half-siblings. Congratulations, girls. Please come and say, you get to come and say.
Wowee, was not expecting this one at all. I don't even know what to say, didn't really think of anything. When Jess and I originally went to Kalgoorlie, we had, as well as everyone else who was there covering that story, had absolutely no idea what it would form into. And I really think I just thought girl power. You know, we're 2 young, I like to still think I'm young, 2 young girls there, just the 2 of us, stuck in the middle of a riot, and that's not something that everyone gets to experience. And it was terrifying, it really, really was. But this award also goes out to everyone else who was there covering it, our 7 colleagues, Rabi, Simon, Mon, you know, we were alongside them as well, and particularly our producers back in the studio, our editors. It was a team effort, so it's not just us. So thank you. And Jess, thank you.
Thank you
for being by my side, so appreciate it.
Always. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well done, girls. Girl power indeed. That concludes the 2017 West Australian Awards presentation. Congratulations to all of tonight's winners. You've done us proud. A full list of winners, finalists and judges' comments will be up on the website this evening. Thank you again to all our sponsors. We ask all the winners to assemble in the foyer out there for a group photo. Thank you so much, everyone, for your hospitality. We've been simply honoured to have been your hosts this evening. Enjoy the rest of your night, and the dessert buffet is waiting, as are the amazing sounds of DJ Roski. So enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you very much.
The 2017 Western Australia Media Awards are made possible thanks to Serafino Wines, Lion, Government of Western Australia, Lavin Legal, thewest.com.au, Telstra, Community Newspaper Group, Public Transport Authority, Media Super, Hit 92.9, AMA Western Australia, Equal Opportunity Commission, The Sunday Times, OBWA, and the Walkley Foundation.